I'm about to explain to you how home builders and house flippers are consistently crapping the bed. I know it's not like you woke up and thought that's what you wanted to hear today, but I'm telling you it's going to make sense, especially if you're a real estate agent or a home buyer who keeps looking at these new builds and wondering why they don't really look as good as you thought they were going to look in the photos. I'm going to explain to you why. My name is Jonathan Green. I run a big team called Streamline Properties on Market. We're brokered by eXp Realty. And the major problem is a divergence of responsibility between the home builder or house flipper and the agent. And there's a couple of reasons why. But what's happening is one, the properties are unstaged. If you spent all this money to build a home or flip a house, and then you don't stage the property, you're just tossing money away. All houses look better staged. Every single house for sale will look better staged. Rentals, do what you want. Homes for sale, stage them. If you're not staging them, you're just being cheap. Somebody's being cheap, and I'm going to explain where the dichotomy is and to who's blaming who, but like they're not staged. Number two, they're never clean. I don't understand what it is. And I do know from my flipping experience that a lot of times the contractors are never like really all the way done. They're at like 94%, 97%. So you never get that final construction clean because you don't want them to mess it up again. But you can't put a house on the market and have sawdust everywhere and dust on the counters and dirt inside the sinks. It's disgusting. Nobody wants to spend $1.5 million for a dirty sink or a bad presentation. It makes no sense. And I don't understand how you get into these luxury price points and nobody's even thinking like, hey, I wonder if this house is even clean. It's gross. You can't even back up into something because you're going to get sawdust on you. That just means they didn't do a construction cleaning at the end or they're actually not finished. And that's number three, the job's not finished. Bro, stop putting houses on the market before they're finished. It's a bad showing experience for you. You're not going to get as much money. You're never going to get as much money in a pre-build unless you're completely pre-build in a development where everybody knows what you can get and there's models and there's established completed buildings. You're just not going to do it. You're putting properties on the market at 70% done. You're actually in jeopardy because they're dangerous. We've gone into them where there's no handrails, there's just jagged floors, no appliances. It's embarrassing. How are you trying? How do you expect to get the high price point that you're asking for and also say you'll finish it when you get to it? It's just ludicrous. I don't understand why everybody's doing. Oh, wait. I do understand because the real estate agents who are listing these are often taking them at a very, very low listing percentage because the builders are cheap or the home flippers are cheap and they're looking for a 1% listing on their side. And you know what you get for a 1% listing? No service whatsoever. Nothing. I can't say that as a realtor, I'm not going to get the house clean for 1%. There's no point that you're trying to discount me, so I'm not also going to do your job. And this is where the dichotomy is. Who's responsible for keeping the house clean? On my listings, if it was dirty, I'd get it clean. But I don't take listings at 1% because that's embarrassing. So they're arguing amongst each other like who should pay for this. I was in two this weekend where there was no running water. I mean, tell me that you're cheap without telling me that you're cheap. You don't even have the water running. So you have no water because you don't want to pay a water bill, which like costs nothing. You have the electricity on. Half the houses don't even run the AC in the summer because they don't want to spend that little bit of money for the experience for the end buyer. And that's the problem. When you have new builds and new house flips sitting on the market, they're overpriced, they're uncared for, they're unstaged, and they're embarrassing. Tell me in the comments if I'm wrong. If they're not selling, this is why. It's correct every single time. If you want to sell a new build or a nice flip, you need to not only do a nice job on it and use good materials, make good choices, but you also need to price appropriately and focus on the end buyer. And if you're focusing on the end buyer, that means staging the house everywhere, not just one room, stage everywhere, clean the house. I don't even know, why do I have to even explain this to you, that you need to clean your properties, especially when they're new? It's gross when there's dirt in the sink or tiles everywhere or it's undone. It's a terrible showing experience. And there's a lot of 1% listing agents who will say, we'll take it all on 60%, 50%. It's terrible advice. It's not good to list your properties early. You can't get the money anyway. So I don't understand what the big deal is. Why would you list early? You can't use the money that's on deposit. It's held in escrow. So why don't you wait until it's finished so you can present the best product? That is why home builders and house flippers are crapping the bed. Tell me that I'm wrong.